Hey, I've got a super awesome mystery lens review. Seriously, I do. It's right here. I gotta read the ingredients of this Kentucky crack water for carbonated water, sugar, corn sweetener, loads of caffeine. Warning: may cause impotence. May cause unnecessary desire to watch the Kardashians, and I am Kate. May cause cold sweats. May cause gender dysphoria. May cause... Oh, that's not good. It's a mystery what's in this stuff, and people actually claim that the good old boys up in the mountains actually drink too much of this stuff, and it causes them to go strange and get weird. I kind of feel like I've stopped drinking it. Yeah, I'm slightly crazy. Anyways, take a look at the mystery lens review. They kind of been on a roll with German glass, which this time we're talking about German glass made in Japan. But hey, we got Toyota down the street. They're making Camrys and those ugly minivans. So those are Japanese cars, and they're made in Kentucky. Man, that plant is huge. I mean, I've been inside of there. I mean, it's like as long as the eye can see to infinity. It's like billions and billions and billions of dollars of robots at the Camry factory. Oh my God. I mean, you've never seen anything that long in your life. It's like standing out in the middle of a gigantic field and seeing all the way to infinity. That's how long that production facility is. And there's just nothing but billions and billions and billions of dollars of robots just as far as the eye can see. I mean, absolutely. Anyway, who gives a crap, right? Anyway, I digress, as I typically do. Let's take a look at this. Oh my God, look at that! The front filter is 82 millimeters. This is the Zeiss Distagon. It's 18 millimeter. It's a ZF2 with CPU contacts. Maximum aperture of f3.5. Prime lens. Awesome. Also extremely heavy as any Zeiss, although not as heavy as a 35 millimeter f2 because it's a lot shorter. This is actually a removable lens hood, and I will remove it for you right there. Typical Zeiss, awesome quality. You will have to stick your nuggets in a vise and squeeze your wallet until it squeals to buy a filter for this thing because it's 82 millimeters, especially if it's a circular polarizer. Anyway, it's an awesome manual focus lens. It's absolutely incredible. How does it compare to other applicable lenses? It is certainly sharper at 18 millimeters than the Nikkor 14 to 24, and certainly so than the Tamron 15 to 30. But I mean, it is a Zeiss prime lens, for God's sakes. I mean, you think it was going to be worse than any of the awesome super wide zooms? Now, what is the closest lens applicable to this? It is unquestionably so Nikon's sharpest ultra wide, which is the 20 millimeter f1.8 G series, which is $800 new. And this lens new is a hair over $1,200. You can usually find it used, not cheap. Sometimes you can find it for like $900 used. It is obnoxiously large front glass of 85 millimeters. No, the glass is an 82 millimeters, excuse me. It is an 82, but that's the filter it takes. Now, how do the lenses compare between the two? Because that is the closest analog. Talk about an $800 lens, 20 millimeter f1.8G. Have to get serious here. These lenses, these video reviews are meant to be serious, even though I throw a little humor in there. I try to be extremely logical and sensible about comparison between the two. As far as, now I'm going to be making some future videos here in the next day or so, talking and comparing contrast versus resolution, and showing you examples of what good contrast is, what good resolution is, or good resolving power, and an example of good resolution and contrast, and an example of bad resolution but good contrast, and examples of good contrast and bad resolution. So, in that way, you'll actually have a definitive understanding of crappy lenses and good lenses, and why Zeiss lenses look like crap and they're very muddy and murky, for example. But anyway, back to this lens. I'll show you the rear element here. It is an f3.5. Now, it isn't comparable, obviously, to the Nikkor 20mm, which is maximum aperture of f1.8, which uses a couple aspherical elements. It is also a 13-element lens, so obviously the 20mm f1.8 is $400 cheaper, but it also is plastic fantastic. It is a G series, and you have some stuff that can go wrong and burn out inside the lens. Inside this, there's nothing. Now, this is a CPU lens, like an AIP lens. Exquisite rendition, exquisite contrast. This is typical of any Zeiss Prime. It is obviously a manual focus lens. It is easier, of course, to manually focus a lens on a full frame than it is a DX. And it also is easier if you're using one of the 1.2 magnifiers like I use on most of my cameras than just the standard eyepiece. So comparatively to at 3.5 and above, at 3.5 this lens has a significant amount of vignetting. However, as is the case, the contrast and resolution are superior, not by a great deal, to the 20mm f1.8G Nikkor, but this lens is $400 more, and really finding a used one is pretty impossible because nobody gets rid of these lenses for a very good reason. At f5.6, in comparison to the 20mm f1.8G, vignetting is very close. Saturation, depth, and micro contrast is superior on the 18mm Distagon, but you'd probably expect that to be the case. Obviously, this is made a lot better than the plastic fantastic 20mm f1.8G. However, as is also the case, Zeiss doesn't make all winners across the board. The Zeiss 21mm, which I have used, not owned, but used extensively, is inferior to the 20mm f1.8G Nikkor. It has far more vignetting, it's not as sharp, and that is what I would call one of Zeiss's losers. Another Zeiss loser is the $4,000, way too much glass inside, Zeiss Otis. $4,000, that lens is even worth $1,000. That lens is a dog. It is insanely sharp, but sharpness is not everything. The Zeiss Otis is another dog lens put out by Zeiss. People are going to say that's heresy, but I've used the lens, and unless you've used the lens, then you don't have anything to say. I'm sorry, that's the way it is. That lens is made for videography as well as photography. It is insanely sharp, it serves a purpose, it has perfect corner-to-corner sharpness, but the lens is not even worth $1,000, much less $4,000, and it is far, far, far away from the world's best lens. Now, it is insanely sharp to anything else in the 50mm range, plus or minus 5mm, but it is not a good lens. Now, this particular Zeiss Distagon 18mm f3.5 is exquisite. It is wonderful. It is right at the border with my 20mm 1.8G and my 20mm f3.5, which is an older lens and kind of hard to get, but this one by far, if I were going to go out and make some huge prints at 5.6 and above, because it does have significant vignetting at f3.5. But if I were going to go out and I was doing a paid gig and someone's going to print out some large prints, I'd toss this on the Nikon D810 all day long and just take some exquisite pictures. You can obviously go to the Flickr page and see the wonderful, wonderful, exquisite pictures. In most, 99% of all cases, you'll see on the Flickr page for the 18mm Distagon that this is an exquisite lens that will just knock you flat on your ass. Other than the fact that it is insanely expensive and it's not that extremely fast, it is f3.5, and the fact that it has significant vignetting at f3.5, I still rate this lens, a 9.5 out of 10. It is very expensive, but it's also built to last. This is a lens that will last more than one lifetime. Not everything Zeiss makes is interstellar, like the 35mm f2 Distagon, but this is one exquisite lens, definitely worth owning. However, of course, alas, as is the case, it is very expensive. Once again, I apologize for the fact that I have not made so many videos in the past few days, but I've been very sick due to allergies. And I'll return to my normal high output in the next day or so, humble apologies. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you like this video, drop me a buck or two, go tell me to jump off a cliff, whatever makes you most happy. Catch you later, another video from the Tattooed Angry Freak Photographer. I'll catch you later.